Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to cover the potential winter storm for this weekend across the Northeast, as well as a first look at our Thanksgiving forecast and what you may expect. But before we dive into this video, if you could please subscribe and comment any questions you have down below, we'll be happy to answer them as quickly as we can. So starting off with this video, we are looking at the European model here, and we can expect some showers across the east today. Nothing in the form of heavy rain, just some light showers, and these showers will dissipate going into the evening hours. And we'll take this out here to this evening, and you'll see these showers this weekend as they push eastward. Now, some of these rain showers could change to some snow showers across the northeast, the interior northeast, I should say, but we are not expecting anyway in the form of accumulations for these areas. Our main system that we are keeping our eye on is this low pressure that is forming across Louisiana here Friday night. And taking this out to Saturday morning, slow pressure is now over central Tennessee, and mostly these areas are experiencing some rain. Parts of central Illinois is seeing some snow. Generally speaking, the air mass is going to be rather warm for this storm, so those areas, or those people that are wanting some snow for this storm, this is probably not going to be your storm for accumulating snow. We'll take this out further here, but really the only areas that may see some accumulating snow is parts of the interior northeast, but again, we'll take a look at that here in a second. In the meantime, we're going to take this out here to Saturday afternoon. This is Saturday 4 p.m. Much of the mid-Atlantic here in the south as well is seeing some rain out of the system. So if you have any outdoor plans on Saturday, just prepare for some rainy conditions. Across central Indiana, there is some more moderate snow falling in these areas, but again, the actual surface temperatures are above 32 degrees, so we're not expecting anyway in the form of accumulation for those areas. Now, the European model does have the low pressure transfer to the coast, and this is much what we were talking about from the video from the other night. The earlier this transfers, the better potential for some rain changing to snow or rain changing to sleet, and you'll see that here across northern Pennsylvania this does begin to happen, and for areas further north and more in the interior areas. Now we're going to take a look at, this is the same model, same European model, just a closer look at the northeast here. Again, in these pinks, that's your freezing rain, and your light blues, that's your snow, and of course green is rain. And we're going to take a look at here, this is going to be Sunday at 7 a.m. Again, this is a rather warm storm, so most areas will just see rain out of the system. You have to go all the way back to far western Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and eastern Ohio to see some snow. But generally speaking, these areas will not see much in the way of accumulation. Maybe a coating to an inch in these areas. That's definitely possible if this scenario were to pan out. When we look at the GFS, you'll see that that solution's a little bit different than this one. Nevertheless, we're going to take this forward here to 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. You can see some snow is breaking out across northeast Pennsylvania, and if this scenario does actually happen, as the European is showing it, across northeast Pennsylvania, you could definitely see a coating to an inch, maybe even 2 inches in the highest elevations. But for the most part, again, sea surface temperatures are just going to be too warm for this storm. This storm system does begin to really strengthen, though, as it heads towards southern New England, and you can see the northwest side. In these darker blue areas, that's where your accumulating snow is falling. So, like we mentioned earlier, really the interior northeast has the best chance at seeing some accumulating snowfall. And we'll look at the snowfall map in a second here that the European prints out. Some of these areas could definitely see a couple inches of snow out of this, if this solution does occur. And then we'll take it further out here. Eastern Maine, that's where the heaviest snow falls on the European model this run, and again the snowfall map will reflect that. Now we're going to look at the GFS. This is the American model, and we're going to look at the same storm system here, and this system, or this solution, is a little bit different. So generally starting out here, it is the same. Rain is breaking out across the mid-Atlantic here with your snow on the northwestern side, but instead of transferring early like the European did, the primary is a little bit further north. Now it does have some frozen precipitation across northern Pennsylvania here. So up until this point, it is rather similar to the European model. But here's where here's where it begins to change. So now we're going to take this out here to 7 a.m. Sunday morning. Our low pressure here is sitting off the coast of Delaware here. That's a good, I'd say maybe 100 miles off the coast. And snow is falling across parts of Pennsylvania and West Virginia, but this is very light snow and not accumulating with temperatures above 32 degrees. It's more than likely like 35 to 38 degrees in these areas. And now the European model kind of takes a more of a track northward and impacts much of the interior northeast, as you just saw. The GFS, on the other hand, kind of takes this storm system a little bit further out here to the east. So it's more of a northeast track rather than a northward track. And this allows for far less impacts for these areas. And it's pretty much all in the form of rain, with the exceptions being southern Vermont and New Hampshire here. But again, if this solution happens, even those areas would not see much in the way of accumulation. Just some light coatings are possible. And then the storm system continues to head off into out to sea there. So what are we thinking? It's more than likely going to be a middle ground solution between these two. But for the time being, we're going to look at the European model just because it does show the most snow. So this is for the interior northeast. If you want to prepare for this, for the worst case scenario, if you will, potential for 3 to 6 inches of snow in anywhere in these blue areas across eastern Maine here and parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and then just patchy coatings here elsewhere. Really, again, this is being generous here for some of these locations in Pennsylvania and West Virginia. While these are your higher elevation areas, we still don't really expect anything more than a coating of an inch for those regions. Okay, so how's our Thanksgiving forecast looking? We're going to take a look out here back to the European model, and we're going to take this out here to next week. So this is looking at Tuesday here. And we do have a storm system on the European model that's breaking out across the Central Plains here in Texas, forming over the panhandle of Oklahoma, I really should say. Now this system, if you have travel plans on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, this system here, developing over the Midwest here, does pack a punch, especially for the areas that do see snow out of the system. There could be an area of accumulating snowfall. Several inches of snowfall is possible, especially if the European model does pan out. Now, there's some variations between the GFS and the European model on where exactly the storm tracks. So, in the end, that's what it comes down to, the track of the storm of who sees what type of precipitation and how much. But right now, our biggest concern here is the Midwest for travel on Wednesday. Elsewhere, we really don't expect major issues. Going into Thanksgiving itself, some snowfall is breaking out across the west here, as well as some rain down south. But we're not looking at in the way of any major storms, at least not right now. We're going to look at the GFS here for that same cutter system. And again, it all depends on what track it takes. The GFS is much quicker with the system. And this is actually only on Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning for these areas. Areas in Michigan and in the northern Illinois, northern Indiana. These areas actually see some accumulating snowfall according to the GFS, but it's much weaker and much quicker with the system. And then we'll take it out here to Thanksgiving. Again, it has that same storm system developing out west with some mountain snows. And again, nothing major for those areas. And some rain showers breaking out across the south here. Now this is a very early look at the Thanksgiving forecast. Obviously going forward, we'll have a more detailed look for you guys. So just make sure you keep it here for the latest. And again, this weekend's forecast, we'll have updates going forward as well on that. Right now, the European model is the coldest solution. If you're rooting for the snow, definitely root for the European model right now across the interior northeast. That's your that's your friend right now. The GFS is a little bit more warm and a little bit further east with the storm. So again, for those areas, potential of 2 to 5 inches, maybe 3 to 6 in these areas, in this darker blue area. But again, that's your best case scenario right now. until our video later in the morning, or I should say tomorrow morning, we'll have updates on this system, as well as more updates on what we can expect going forward. I hope you guys have a great day.